welcome to Meddkit's Provider Spotlight, where every week we are interviewing the most amazing private practices. Every week we are coming with a brand new specialty, a brand new perspective, and brand new people. And today we have really awesome special guests for you. It's been a little bit since we've had a couple people on the podcast at one time. So I am very excited to introduce you to Dr. Nicole Freels. She is the founder and CEO of Lexington Podiatry, a foot and ankle specialist in Kentucky. And we also have Cody Meier, who is their director of operations. So welcome, you two. Very excited to dive in.
Thank you so much for having us. We're super excited to share some information. Hopefully, everyone will learn a little something.
For
I
sure.
love it. Welcome. Very excited to dive in with you too. Want to kind of start out, something that I love to do to get everyone warmed up and to get the audience to know who exactly they're chatting with. Let's start with a little inspiration, right? So let's start with you, Dr. Friels. What had inspired you to open up your own practice?
Well, it was kind of an easy decision for me because I am a second generation podiatrist. So I grew up in that atmosphere, and it was, a lot of doctors practice in old homes
Mhm.
during that time. And so my grandfather's office was in an old home. So I really loved how laid back and it was just chill, and I thought I can do this job. And so just hanging out in there was kind of my motivation, behind it. And then fast forward to when I'm graduating from residency and whatnot. The only challenge was that we were in a recession in 2008. So there's lots of ups and downs, but it's been a wild ride. It's been fun, that's for sure.
That's awesome. How about you, Cody? What landed you here today?
Oh Lord, that's a great question. So I started off actually in the active duty military, where I was a hospital administrator for a few years, 6 years. Then I went over and did a brief little stint with the Wounded Warrior Project down in San Antonio, Texas. Jumped on over to Kinney Orthopedics and Orthotics and Prosthetics, and then the University of Kentucky. So I kind of always had this weird thing with feet. I don't know, feet or lack thereof. So I don't. It just kind of made sense of coming over and becoming a part of the LexPod squad.
I love it. Yeah, being, I'm sure, active military and my cousins and I were just talking about if your feet aren't right, you're gonna have problems doing everyday lifestyle. Or he was in the military, all those guys made sure that those toes were looking good every day. So,
You
um,
have to.
yep,
Foot
you have.
rot is real.
I did my part of my residency at a VA, and it was insane to see the condition a lot of it was just old damage, from
Yeah.
Vietnam or whatnot. And it's really sad because it's very challenging, especially as you get older, to be able to even reach your feet to take care of them. So if you have these issues that happen, when you were serving, and then here you're dealing with them, 30, 40 years later. So
Yeah,
lots of
100%.
preventative stuff that can be done as well.
Yep.
Mhm.
Speaking of very interesting cases, number one, if y'all are interested, you got to check out their YouTube channel. It will be your new Roman Empire. If you like Dr. Pimple Popper, this is the channel for you. But you see a wide range of folks with all different kinds of issues that you help them with. And by the way, you are so kind in doing all of that. So would love to hear from you. What are some of maybe the common things that you treat, but maybe some of the not so common and maybe some things that are on the YouTube channel that you are excited to share?
Sure. Well, we actually launched the YouTube channel because we are all from like small towns in Kentucky. So there's not a lot of healthcare there. So that was the real goal behind it, was to be able to educate other caregivers and family members on how to take care of elders' feet that can't necessarily get to a podiatrist or anyone to help them. So that was where it started. And then it's a lot of the gross stuff, and people love that. It just exploded with the toenail trims. I had no idea that people find it so satisfying to watch a callus being trimmed. I don't get it, but apparently a lot of people do, including you. Um, but anyway, a lot of the gross stuff we just don't see frequently. I treat a lot of biomechanics, sports medicine, gait analysis, and seeing keeping people off of the table from having surgery, and kind of coming in and like, hey, what can you do? We have to think outside the box. So it's easy to do surgery on someone, cut, you're done. But it's really challenging to interview them and talk with them about, hey, what's your daily life like? What do you want to do, but you can't? Oh, how many hours a feet or how many hours a day do you work on concrete? And putting all of that together to create a custom treatment plan that's going to be realistic.
Yeah.
I tell everybody that comes in the office, hey, just get off your feet. Well, that's not really, I mean, come on, nobody can really do that. It's very rare. So anyway, yeah, we go from pediatrics to, like I said, biomechanics to the occasional good old toenail trim in there, but mainly sports medicine, things like that, and preventative.
Fascinating. And I would love to hear, obviously you can see through your various videos and even all that you address. I'd love to hear from both of you. What makes Lexington Podiatry really unique and different? Are there things that you do that are completely different from, like you said, you're serving an area where maybe there's not a lot of access. So, what can you tell people about you today that you think is special and is helpful to your community?
Uh,
Well, go ahead, Cody. I was like, you got the secret sauce, I think.
well, it's exactly. She hit the nail on the head of the secret sauce. I think we take a ton of pride in trying to break the stigma of when you think about podiatry, you think about, whenever I first came on, I thought about old men and gross toenails and smelly, stinky office. And that's not really what we've built here. It's not what Dr. Frills has built here. In creating more of a spa-like, comforting atmosphere where we pump certain scents into the office that kind of ease the anxiety of the patient coming in. We have smiling faces at the front to try and keep that connectivity to the patient and enhance the overall experience.
Yeah.
Patient experience is huge to us.
Yeah.
Because we want to make sure that the patient walks out of the door feeling like they were heard and comforted and have a solution to why they're here. And I feel like too often, especially nowadays with healthcare being a quantity over quality game, then it why they're coming in and creating that positive experience kind of gets lost in the day to day. So I'm super proud of being able to garner so many positive Google reviews out of our positive experience. Um,
I
Yeah.
really wanted to, whenever I kind of thought about the flow of the patient journey and whatnot, wanted to create a memorable experience. I wanted to create a wow and get that. I know when I walked into the Delta Sky Club for the first time, I'm like, this is cool. It's quiet. They got free drinks. I got free food because I'm thinking, oh gosh, we're saving a ton of money,
Right.
being in here. And so I wanted to create that type of environment for the office. So they are comfortable coming in and, hey, maybe you forgot to, eat lunch or you haven't had an opportunity to grab that cup of coffee from Starbucks. And so we have that already there in like he said, a really relaxed environment that just feels like a home. Like I have a lot of people like, can I stay in this room and take a nap in this chair? Because we've got weighted blankets, we've got lavender pillows. Those little amenities go such a long way. I mean, I know when I go into my doctor's office and I want a cup of coffee, I'm like, oh, this is good stuff. This is like we peppermint coffee. We're not talking about the Folgers and all that kind of, crappy coffee. We got good stuff. Hot chocolate in the winter,
Nice.
you name it.
It's such a nice touch because, there's some people that often wait. Maybe they're nervous about coming in. They let something go for a while, and they feel embarrassed about it. And it's so nice to come somewhere where they automatically feel welcomed. They feel heard and listened to. And that is such an underrated thing in our society. To just be heard in the healthcare space is massive. So I love that you're doing that, and it certainly shows through not only, in the videos that you record, there's people that come in with pretty serious issues and you treat them with kindness. You support them, and I love that you both are doing that to help your patients move forward and get healthier.
Yeah, absolutely. Because it's such a vulnerable place anyway.
Yeah.
A lot of people, especially if you have malformed feet or something like that, you are very self-conscious. And I mean, you've no idea how many people I've talked to that say, I don't even take off my socks at the beach. I'm so embarrassed. And if you think about positionally, it's kind of like being at the gynecologist. Your feet are hanging out there, you're right in front of the doctor's face, and here you're already ashamed of them. And
Yeah.
so to me, I would be doing a disservice because the only thing that ever I would say bothers me if there's a ulcer that is infected and it's odor. I don't care what they look like. That doesn't, affect me at all because we've all, got our own insecurities and whatnot. But to them, I always feel I'm so thankful that they allow us to film. And Lexington is a city, it's a metropolitan city.
Yeah.
We educate a lot of the rural areas because there's only two cities in Kentucky, Louisville and Lexington. The rest of it are just like big towns. So that's a lot of the people that we're trying to reach and make them feel comfortable. And just lay it out there. It's an open kimono. It's not going anywhere besides this exam room. So,
Yeah, I love it. And speaking of kind of laying things out for people, I think in every part of healthcare, every specialty, they have their own unique misconceptions. Like Cody, you had talked about one earlier, like thinking podiatry is just, elder, folks with, gross toenails and we need to clip them, right? But there's so much more, right? To the practice, to what you're doing, how you're helping people. So, what are some of the maybe most common misconceptions that people are asking you about? You're hearing all the time, and let's just debunk them today. So, from both of you, I'm sure you get different ones, but would love to hear your perspectives on those misconceptions.
Dr. Freels, why don't you take the patient perspective? I have a different approach, more the employee perspective.
Oh, I love this
Yeah.
twist.
Mhm.
Uh-huh.
So I would say the patient perspective is that we're kind of all the same, and podiatry is trimming toenails and calluses. They don't understand that, we can literally bring this all the way up to the back. I mean, it's all a kinetic chain and it is connected. And so my role, because I do heavily specialize in biomechanics, is drawing that connection and that aha moment of them saying, "Oh my gosh, my left hip hurts because my right big toe joint has arthritis." And putting all of that together, I think a lot of people think that podiatry is just so focused on those minor dermatological issues, when in reality,
Yeah.
we are the experts at lower extremity or below the belt,
Hmm.
uh, like I said, gait and analysis. And I mean, it's a bunch of physics. It really is.
Yeah.
And if you understand physics, then you're going to be great at biomechanics. But and there's so many different ways people practice. And I think where we're so fragmented is, and we can't get on the same page in terms of a standardization, that it's confusing to patients and they don't know, do I go to an orthopedist for this? Or do I go to a podiatrist? Do I go to a dermatologist? So it's confusion. It's amongst the what we do, really, just to sum it up.
Yep. I hear you there. Cody, how about you? I'm curious to hear your take on the employee side of things.
Yeah, I mean, it's super similar in what Dr. Fields was saying of confusion about what do we do and how are we kind of different from those misconceptions of we're just an orthopedist or you come in and slice or dice or get her fixed up and you're done. So we always have some initial confusion when we bring on new staff of what exactly do we do here and how are we different? We're heavy on the DME and preventative side of I kind of want to bring you in and get you all the care that you need,
Hmm.
charge you one copay, send you home, and call me if you have any questions. So I think kind of breaking the stigma and having you come back and dangling the carrot of, well, you do this next and you're going to be healed. And then in 3 weeks, I'll have you come back and do this and you're going to be healed. And keeping it drawn out is totally different than the way that we approach it. I want to give you all the education and resources you need to be successful in your treatment plan as quickly as possible. So I think our staff are a little shocked whenever they have that, again, open kimono type of mentality, our providers, and giving the patients exactly what they need right out of the gate, and setting them up for success. Some of that other change is that we hire a different type of staff as well. So people expect this typical practice of medical assistants that are just kind of stuck on a role and staying there forever. Instead, we encourage a positive turnover, what I call it, mentality of where do you want to be when you grow up? and kind of promoting our folks to go out and chase their bigger, better dreams. And that enhances our patient experience internally. We have one individual that is waiting to go to med school, and another one that's testing for her MCATs right now. Another one that just left, got accepted into PA school. Another one went to nurse practitioner school. So it's super enlightening. And
Podiatry.
yeah, a podiatrist.
One that's
Sorry,
in podiatry school now.
the one's in podiatry school. Yeah. So it's great to also be able to elevate the patient experience of patient comes in and they're being treated by somebody that's going to be a doctor in the next couple of years. So kind of breaking that stigma of having a more uplifting and encouraging culture within our employee base that's definitely more positive than other places that I've been at.
For sure. I think a theme here is that communication is just really important across the board. Communication with patients, communication with staff, because no one wants to do anything that they're confused about, simply. When they're confused, they're more scared because they don't know what to expect. And so I love that you're just laying things out for folks and saying, hey, we want to be upfront with you as possible about your treatment plan, what we're going to do. If this isn't working, we're going to try this, or we should see this kind of result within a couple of weeks if you don't let me know. And so I love that you guys are just so upfront, because I think a lot of people have been maybe pushed around, medically gaslit. I've heard that term quite a few times. And so it's great that on all sides and firing on all cylinders, that you are communicating really well. And I think that's what really makes you guys part of your secret sauce, maybe, is to making you guys successful. So that is really encouraging to hear. And just kind of, you've kind of maybe thrown out this tip already. But just to kind of round out today, if there's anything you think a patient can do, or anything that we can do in general to move our health in a better trajectory. We talked about, coming in, feeling safe. But if there's any typical homework, or something that you might suggest, would love to hear, what you guys might recommend for us today.
What I would recommend, and I have a rare heart condition. And so, you are your own advocate for your health. With what's going on, there's a lot of balance work, a lot of juggling being done. Keep a 3-ring binder of every single medical note, every single image, every single CD of your MRI. Keep it together. I always tell my patients, the more information, the more pieces of the puzzle you give me, the quicker I can get to the answer, especially if it's like a seventh opinion, like a complicated, like I need to sift through all this information. This has been done. And really, treatment trees are true, and diagnostic trees are true. The way that we think is very much like a tree and branches, and we're getting to that leaf, right?
Yep.
So the quicker we can do it, the better outcome for you, but you got to keep it organized. And our systems do not communicate yet, our EHR, so you got to do it yourself. And then you easily get this from your doctors and imagery and stuff like that. It's just keep it organized.
Yep. How about you, Cody? What do you think?
To piggyback on that, I mean, I'm not a doctor by any means, but take ownership of your own care, and think comprehensively about your problem. Don't overthink, or don't undervalue your foot and the problems that might be stemming from that type of issue. It's a from the ground up type of trajectory. If your back is hurting, it could be your foot. Don't simply go to your general practitioner and ask those questions. Think comprehensively about what it could be. Don't be afraid to think outside the box.
100%. And for folks that are looking for additional resources, are there any type of products or things that you would suggest that you feel really gung-ho about?
Well, we have our own foot care line,
Yeah.
modernpodiatrist.com. So there it's a full dermatological, and also we have CBD for pain and things like that. So if you're not able to get to a podiatrist, or you have something that you've tried over the counter stuff, you really need potent things. And these recipes we created have the max amount of active ingredients, and then also layered in with a bunch of natural ingredients, because I do believe in that holistic approach. So we just kind of merge Eastern and Western medicine together. So that is obviously one of the big products that I would recommend because it's delivered to your house. And
Nice.
hopefully, yeah, yeah. I mean, you're basically getting an appointment with me. It's just through a website. And we're telling you exactly, what you need and giving you lots of imagery and information to be able to kind of self-diagnose, if you will.
I always like to ask because, sometimes we're in this position and we have something going on, and it's so nice to not only have the perfect matchup of a physician to help, but then the products that match, especially if it comes from them themselves. It's you feel like you're getting the full course treatment, the full spectrum of what you should be doing, how you can be helping yourself by a reputable person. So I love that you have Modern Podiatrist. Super awesome product line. Very excited for all of us to check it out. I will link it here
Cool.
in our bio. But this has been fantastic, you two. I really enjoyed having you on. And before we go today, I would love if you could just tell us, where folks can find you, where they can reach out, where they can buy some of your products if they're looking for them online. So feel free to fire away on all of the shout outs.
So we are everywhere.
Yes.
LinkedIn, Facebook, of course, Instagram, the Meta accounts, and then also obviously our retail, our modernpodiatrist.com URL to purchase products direct. And if you are a wholesaler or a doctor listening, we have tons of wholesale accounts all over the nation. And so you can also go on that same website and register. You can reach us personally. We can put our cell phone numbers or email. What do you prefer?
Any is good.
Okay.
Emails, phone numbers, whatever you want to, shout out today,
Yeah.
have people reach out. That's all good here.
Okay. Because Cody and I do so much consulting and training and things like that. So you can reach me at Dr. Freels at lexpodiatry.com. And my cell phone number is 859-967-7168. Don't make me block you though. I rarely share my cell phone, but it's for a good cause, right?
This is what it's all about, getting the right information to your doorstep, whether you are a provider or whether you are a
Yeah,
patient that is looking for, products to, enhance their practice, or they're looking for a mentor maybe, or hey, I saw you guys were doing this
absolutely.
extremely well, mentorship is so important. I'm sure you guys have had amazing mentors, obviously, your families, guiding you to your futures and being here today, but also for folks that are, patients that feel like, man, this is my last hope. I've been so scared to go anywhere or talk with anyone. I saw this video and I just want to help. So anything that you guys provide is amazing. I appreciate you being here today, and we hope to have you on again soon and maybe have some other videos going on.
Awesome. I love it.
Great.
Thank
Yeah.
you so
Thanks
much.
so
I
much.
appreciate it.
Anytime, you guys have a good one.